Hello there. This is going to be the first of our videos on topic 7, the Industrial Revolution. I would encourage you guys to be reading. Pages 406 to 441 in your textbook is where topic 7 is located. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. I do want you to know that the Industrial Revolution was between 1750 and 1914, and in some ways this revolution is still continuing, although we're often called today the post-industrial period. So what makes this a revolution? What makes this a major change? Okay. Part of what's going on here is a shift from making things by hand to making things by machine. Remember that throughout human history, that is how things have been made up until 1750, when they started to use machines on a large scale to make things. You also see a shift in the power that's being used. You're going from things like mules and horses and oxen, wind power, water power, and people doing things, to using another source of power like steam or later electricity. So these are two things that make this a revolutionary period. Britain was the first place to industrialize. There's a few reasons why this happened. Number one is that there were previous things that were going on with food production that changed things in England. They began enclosing land to raise sheep, which put a lot of people off of the land, but it began to do some things to make agriculture a little bit more efficient. They began to improve crop rotation and different ways of planting, improving seeds, and so the resulting increase in population created some needs that led to industrialization. They also had a lot of abundant natural resources. Britain is blessed with a lot of coal and a lot of iron ore, which are things that you need to industrialize. There also was a large labor force that was created largely because of some of these agricultural improvements. They didn't need as many people to farm, so you had a lot of displaced people, and the result was that these people needed something to do, and so this large labor force proved invaluable. You also had a very pro-business government in Britain. Most of the members of parliament were landowners or businessmen, so they already were involved with doing things for profit. There already was a laissez-faire approach to business. Remember, government keeping its hands off and letting business people do their own thing. That was something that was very widespread in England. There's also large amounts of capital. There's a lot of wealth that was just sitting around waiting for people to do something with it. And since you had a lot of people that were socially kept from inheriting, there was a lot of incentive for people to start businesses and do well. So this money was there and it was available to be invested. You also had a lot of entrepreneurs in England, and they encouraged this. So businessmen were taking risk and establishing businesses, and so it was an environment that encouraged industrialization. And since Britain was an island, they had lots of ports. They had been digging canals over the previous century to connect things to improve travel. They had the best navy in the world at the time, and of course they could use that navy to protect their global markets. Remember that when we talked about colonization, Britain and the other countries in Europe, they definitely wanted to protect their markets, and Britain already had a large number of colonies and a lot of markets. This is basically a chain reaction. There's some things that happened in England in the 1750s, and it started to lead to some other things. Okay, so the population, as we mentioned, was increasing because there was more food. This increase in population led to a need for more textiles. More people, you need more clothes. So what this led to were improvements in cloth production. They invented some devices like the flying shuttle, which improved weaving. It sped the process up. That meant that they needed to have more thread, so they invented the spinning jenny, which mass-produced thread. And then, of course, with that increased amount of thread, they needed to weave faster, so they invented the water frame. All of these things that are listed here are hand powered devices. But this in turn led to a shift from how things were produced, from being in the homes, which was the domestic system, to creating a place where all the workers would go to where the machines are. That's called the factory system. It makes things so much more efficient, and you could supervise the workers. Of course, one of the things that you start to see too is the shift to steam power. Originally, steam was used to create pumps that got water out of coal mines, but then they started to apply this to actual machinery. And so this increase, this movement towards the factory system led to improvements with transportation. They needed to get the goods to market. So they began to improve road building. They started building roads with harder surfaces. The technical term for them are macadam roads because it was devised by a man named Macadam. They invented turnpikes, toll roads, good roads that people were willing to pay extra money for to get their goods to market. They already had dug canals that were linking large parts of the country in the interior to the ports. And then towards the early 1800s, they started to develop locomotives, railroads, which began to improve the speed and the efficiency of getting things to market. This is going to be the first of several videos that I'm going to be showing you. You have an outline, and you're also going to have this PowerPoint posted as well. So if you have any questions, email me, and we are going to be Zooming later on this first week here. Okay, thank you.